Wales TUC General Secretary and the Time Has Come campaign supporter, dear Shavanah Taj, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over the past months, Turkey's attacks against the HDP have continued to escalate. Only recently, on the 26th of April, the trial of 108 HDP members, including the former co-chairs of the party, has begun. What do you think these attacks and this trial in particular indicate about the state of democracy and the rule of law in Turkey?
Well, first of all, I just want to express my solidarity with the HDP. I had last year, at the start of the year, I was part of a group that visited HDP in Turkey, and we met with several trade unionists, several individuals who were members and activists within the HDP. As far as the banning of the HDP is concerned, you know, the HDP unites together a massive group of people, a really wide coalition of political thinkers and parties behind a Kurdish leadership. And it tells us a great deal about the state of democracy in Turkey. It also, this trial tells the world stage of politics, that there is apparently no space for alternative views or any form of real dissent in any form when it comes to the Turkish government. And the fact that there is no longer a right for people to protest, to be vocal about holding a different opinion to those in positions of power. I mean, this is something that we are now, even being threatened with here in the UK under the new planned police powers to ban or limit protests, which is going to have a detrimental effect on trade unionism, activism, and also grassroots activism, including the protests that we have been seeing across the world in terms of Black Lives Matters and also activism around the women's movement. So everyone should pay a real close attention to what is happening in Turkey and what is happening to the HDP. HDP has a very similar set of values and principles as the Labour Party actually here in the UK too. So it's very important that we are watching this closely, that we are sending our full solidarity and support to the HDP and the activists, because ultimately what we are seeing being played out on a political stage now is the trial of a party by a government that is openly aligning itself with modern day fascism. And anyone who believes ultimately in freedom of speech should be hugely concerned at this moment in time. The fact that there are so many journalists who've been imprisoned, apparently for expressing criticism of the Turkish government, trade unionists, teachers, one-time civil servants, and many more have been imprisoned. Their families have been threatened, and this sort of shutting down of democracy and the right to freedom of expression is wholly unacceptable. And this sort of fear-mongering that journalists should be, journalists should always be able to speak out without fear of legal action when they are giving an opinion or simply telling the truth about a situation. The closing down of parties is a huge concern for us, for activists that support activists in Turkey. The rights of minorities, particularly in Turkey, must be respected. And the terms of the Convention on Human Rights, as Jeremy Corbyn, the MP, recently stated in his contribution to the Council of European debate, we need to draw our attention to the rights of Kurdish people, to their linguistic and cultural freedoms, as well as political expression. But we also need to note that the HDP are the only party in the Turkish parliament which has called for the recognition of the Armenian genocide. This is a further demonstration of how far and wide the following and support for the HDP is, and why the Turkish government seems to be so threatened.
In your view, how the government of the Western countries, including the UK, failed to take action against the invasions and human rights violations committed by the Turkish government? Very short, very briefly.
I mean, this is extremely worrying, really. I mean, the role of even the Council of Europe is ultimately to monitor human rights across all of our member states. And monitoring is not an attack on an individual country, but is very important and responsible role that they have a duty to fulfill. And the European Convention on Human Rights and the European Court of Human Rights protects our rights, the rights to our assembly, to religious, press, academic freedoms as well, and the right, of course, to be a member of a trade union. The Turkish president's attempts to withdraw from the Istanbul Convention is deeply worrying. I'm, like many trade unionists and supporters, we are extremely clear that if this happens, we could end up in a situation where others feel, other countries where we are seeing the rise of fascism and the shutting down of democratic ability to freedom of expression will happen. So I'm really concerned about that. But equally, the fact that there are so many governments, including the UK government, that is happy to sell arms to countries where we know that there are so many violations to human rights. And there doesn't seem to be any real acceptance or understanding that they also then have a duty to ensure that those arms are then not being used in a way to control and to take away the freedoms of the people who we say everyone across the world matters. That doesn't seem to be the case, and we seem to be putting profit above the lives of human beings, and that's extremely concerning for me.
Thank you. Also, what do you think people in Western countries can do to pressure the Turkish government and support the people of the region who are under attack, in particular the trade union and women's movement?
What I would say to every single person out there is that when you are looking towards Turkey, don't simply see Turkey as the holiday destination that is easy simply to get to. Think about what is happening in that country. Think about the people of that country. Think about the democracy of that country. If you are going to be going to these places and spending your money, be concerned about these things. As a trade unionist in particular, and as a women's rights activist, you have a responsibility not only to support the people who are within your reach and within your own communities where you live and where you work, but our movement is built on international solidarity and support for one another. Freedom, justice, equality is nothing that is simply applied, isn't something that is applied to only one individual. It is something that is applied to every one of our sisters and brothers across the whole world, including in Turkey. So support the campaigns, support the HDP, support the Kurdish Solidarity Movement, and get involved. Ask your branches to support the trade union campaign for solidarity and support with the Kurdish freedom movement too. And make sure as well that when it comes to your own local politicians, we have a Senedd election coming up here in Wales this week. In the same way as you are going to be asking your politicians when they knock on your doors for your vote, also ask them about their opinion on Turkey. Ask them if they are aware of what is happening in Turkey at this moment in time, and the fact that the rights of workers are being completely withdrawn overnight, and that you have a government that is so keen to shut down any form of dissent or any alternative opinion or viewpoint to the one held by that government. Ask them where they stand on those things. So make your vote count, not only locally, but also internationally.
Wales TUC General Secretary and the Time Has Come campaign supporter, dear Shavanah Taj, thanks for joining us. Thank you for your valuable comments today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.